Hey, this is Brendan from Comic Con. Today, we've got an old friend of the show. Mr. Cullen Bunn is coming on. He's got a new thing started up with his wife and a few of his friends, and it's called the Midnight Lantern Foundation. It's a nonprofit, and their mission is to bring imaginative joy to families in need through comfort, creativity, and imaginative joy to children and families facing hardship through comic books, comics, games, art, and genre inspired gifts. The foundation leverages storytelling and fandom to encourage literacy, spark imagination, and foster meaningful community connections. That is a mouthful, sir. How you doing, Cullen?
I'm doing all right. You handled it eloquently, though. Just
Well,
perfect.
I only stuttered twice, I think, during that. But I was trying to I was trying to pull together like two different parts of the introductory email that you sent me, and it didn't work so well. The transition is quite obvious when I meant for it
You
not to
did
be.
well because I was actually sitting here in mortal terror that I was going to have to recite it, and I don't think I can recite. I know I can't recite it from memory.
Im-
Just yet.
Imaginative is a hard word to say quickly.
It is. I put it there just for you.
Thank you, sir. Cool. So you and Cindy, I know. I also know Josh, who's involved with this. Josh, I've seen at a couple of conventions that you're at, and you guys are thick as thieves. But there's a couple names on here too: Greg Ward and Tim Parker. Why don't you tell us who everybody is involved? So you obviously you wrote Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Harrow County, The Sixth Gun. I don't think there's anybody who reads weird horror comics that doesn't know your name. But go ahead and tell us about Cindy's involvement, Josh, Greg, and Tim for a moment, please.
So the Midnight Lantern Foundation came together really years ago. I had this idea to do some sort of charitable group because that focused on genre horror and science fiction and fantasy. Because the one thing I knew is that geeks love to share what they love. For various reasons, it took some time to come together, and I'm glad because it finally came together in a way that I had sort of a team that I knew would back me up on this. So first off, obviously Cindy Bunn, my wife, she was my co-host on when we did a podcast together, and Cindy really more than anything is the person who kind of taught me the joy of being charitable and not being just a sort of a curmudgeon who turtles up and doesn't do things for other people. Over the years that Cindy and I've been together, I've seen her generosity, and it's just and her hope, and it's very inspiring. So of course Cindy was going to be involved in this, and was the first person that's been talking to me about it since the earliest days of its inception. Josh Roberts, good friend of mine, loves comics, used to run a comic shop. He's a writer. He's starting to get some of his stories and his fiction out there. And I just knew he would be excited about this project. Tim Parker is one of the most organized and focused people I know. And he's just good at pretty much anything he puts his mind to. And of my friend circle, probably the person who loves horror as much as I do. Mm-hmm. And then Greg Ward was one of the first people I told about this project, and was one of the most excited. He got more excited than just about anybody when I started talking about doing this, and immediately had ideas, and immediately was giving feedback and offering time and wanting to volunteer. So I formalized it and brought the five of us together to do this and to do it right.
Nice. Now, I want to say something. So, Cullen Bunn, you've been on a bunch of times because we're friends now. We've been doing this together for a while with the video stuff, and I've seen you at a few conventions. I've hosted panels that you've been on. But one of the things that is really sticking out to me is that I know three of the people who were involved here, and I know that you guys are just so incredibly generous with your time and with your efforts and with your resources. One of the reasons why I am where I am in this business today is because I reached out to you when I was a baby comics journalist and had no idea that you're supposed to go through the publisher, or you're supposed to go through the PR rep or whatever. I just sent you a Twitter message when I had a Twitter, and I was like, hey, I like your book. Can I interview you for the site? And you were just like, sure. And I shot you some questions or whatever. But then every single time that I've had a charity thing for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, for the Cystic Fibrosis Research Institute, for the Legacy Foundation, who provides material equipment for people with cystic fibrosis. I'm like, hey, I'm doing a charity fundraiser. You're like, cool. I would send you stuff, and that book or that box that I sent off would come back with signatures, but it also come back fatter than when I sent it, because there'd be twice as many comic books in it, and they'd be like, creator exclusives and all these things. So I know that this is something that's really, close to your heart, and I know that this is just the type of guy that you are, and I know that Cindy supports you in that. And I've been around Josh. I know that Josh is the same kind of guy. Tell me, so I know that you guys are trying to be very intentional with this launch, which means you're going to start small and then you're going to grow. But what is the initial idea? What can somebody expect if they're getting a package from the Midnight Lantern Foundation? Like, if they're getting that support from you guys, like what does that look like as a recipient?
Well, we have a number of events that we're talking about doing over the year, but as you said, it's a big deal to us that we don't try to do too much right out the gate and stumble all over ourselves and not help anybody. So our main focus, at least in this first year, we're going to pick a number of families that people can actually nominate families for support, but we're going to pick a number of families, and we're going to make sure come holiday season they have great holidays, and not just the kids, but the parents. We're gonna, and we want the gifts that we're giving, the donations we're giving out are going to be all focused on the speculative genres. So we're talking, board games, toys, comics, books. All these things are going to be focused on the genre that we love, because that's who I am. It's who, all of us in the foundation, we're all that. The genre stuff is near and dear to our heart. And I think it's something, I think a lot of people don't necessarily consider it. Definitely not the horror genre when we think about charity and giving back. I mean, there's a great horror charity called Scares That Care that they sponsor a convention every year, and it's an amazing charity, and it's absolutely we're doing something very different, and at least right now on a much smaller scale, but they're top of mind with that. And I wanted to make sure that it kind of, we're doing something that it gives people a different view of these genres, especially the horror genre. And again, like I said earlier, it's sharing what we love. So we're talking about really nice gift packages. We're talking to a lot of publishers, a lot of game companies, a lot of stores, and we're going to be putting together really nice gift packages for these families.
That's really cool. And I noticed too, when you're talking about the stuff, it's not just here's a collectible, Funko Pop, whatever. You're talking about things that bring families together, that spark, like you said, literacy, imagination, and meaningful connections. When you're talking about board games, when you're talking about TTRPG, when you're talking about books, one of the things that I have always, when we're talking about libraries and graphic novels, you either get libraries that are like, yes, bring us all the graphic novels, all the comic books, whatever, or you get them that are like, nah, it's not real reading. And it's like, it is though, because people that are just learning to read, people that are learning, a new language or whatever, there's so much context. It's such a valuable education tool. So I love that you're doing things that causes the parents to interact with the children in ways that are creative, in ways that are teaching, and just that you're spending that time with them. So let's talk a little bit about just that part of it, the fostering of the family at Christmas, which is so important.
Yeah, I remember being very young, and I remember that we had nothing my family was, we just didn't have a lot. But one of my most vivid Christmas memories was taking gifts to families that needed gifts. And when I think back on the gifts, I don't remember the gifts except for there was a big bowl of fruit and nuts involved. I remember that. But I remember my dad and my mom being there with me, and we sat with that family for a while. And even not long ago, I was listening to the radio, and the radio station did one of those. They give a family a good holiday, and just hearing what they were what they were giving this family, and the mother's reaction to it, and that she was so concerned that her kids weren't going to have have anything, and now they were going to actually have a really nice Christmas. It just it spoke to me, and it made my shriveled heart grow 3 sizes. And I just that's something I wanted to chase that feeling a little bit.
Nice. And then, so looking on your website, it's pretty basic right now because you guys are just starting out. But I noticed there's a bunch of links on there, so they can find all of your podcasts. You've got the bungalow, you've got the colonoscopy. And dude, let me tell you, every single time, as a man in late middle age now, every time I get an email that says the colonoscopy on there, I sit there and I look at my calendar to see when the last time I had that invasive procedure done, because I'm scared to open it because I think it's from my doctor. But
we're just trying to keep it top of mind. Your health is a priority.
But you've got the podcast on there of stuff that you've done previously. How would people reach out to the Midnight Lantern organization in order to donate, publishers to donate books, or creators to donate books, or, people who are just trying to donate a few dollars if they have it to help you guys reach your goals?
Yeah, you can go to the website. You can easily find out where to contact us and reach out to us from our website. You can also go to my website, which is just cullenbunn.com. You can hit an email there if you want to. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to our social medias, as those, like you said, they're kind of, we just started them up, but you can reach out to us through our social media. And just it doesn't have to be real formal. You can just reach out and say, hey, we've already gotten, since we announced it and launched our website, we've already gotten a number of emails from people who found it, who just reach out and say, hey, they wanted to help, or they had some suggestions, or they wanted to make some donations. And then right now we're doing a Give Butter campaign to raise some initial startup funds to help us with, I don't know if you realize this or not, but setting up at conventions and getting banners and getting giveaways and handouts and everything else, it costs a lot of money.
So just the booth space costs money. If you don't get in, like if you don't make it with, the promoter and say, hey, we're a charity, this is, whatever. And they don't give you the space. They are expensive just to get the space. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, some of these expenses. So we're doing this Give Butter account, which you can again find from our website, which is midnightlantern.org. You can find links to that campaign. And really at this point, anything is helpful. Even just words of well wishes are helpful at this point. Mm-hmm. We're all very excited about what we're doing, and I've been really excited about the reaction to it and how people are connecting with it.
Nice. One thing I want to point out too is that you guys are a verified 501c3, and so anybody who sends money, you need to know that any funds that come in for a charity that is verified, that has this status, they have to provide such meticulous notes. The process is ridiculous, but they do that so that you can have that confidence that your money is going toward the thing that they say that they're going to be going towards. Because if it doesn't, there's a lot of stuff that comes up afterwards or whatever. You guys are verified. You did do that process. So any donations that come in 100% go toward the cause and go towards shipping costs and all those things because when you look at just the logistics of this, people have to ship you the original product. You guys have to open it. You have to repackage it. You have to ship it out. There's all kinds of, the boxes to put the stuff in, or the diamond mailers or whatever it is that you're sending out. The stuff costs money, but just that there's an accounting that goes with being a verified 501c3. And I think that's the education one, isn't it?
Well, it's just it makes us it just marks us as a legitimate charity. It means donations to us are tax deductible, and yes, and you can take comfort in knowing what comes to us. Everything. This is a level of documentation and reporting that is a little new to us, which is why we brought in. Definitely some of the folks who are on the board are much better at this than I am. I know my strengths and weaknesses, so I focused on. I'm going to let the people who know what they're doing with the reporting handle the reporting. Me, I'm the idea guy.
Nice, nice.
But yeah,
So
but yeah, totally. Everything's tax deductible that comes to us, and you can take heart that it's going to the right places and going to be used for the benefit of the charity and to the benefit of the families that we work with at the end of the year.
So we've covered your status as a legitimate charity. We've covered kind of what your game plan is. Now, you said that folks can be nominated. If you have a family that's in need, is that limited to the area you're in, or you like?
So our goal obviously is to make this as, over time as big as we can. But again, we know that it's a little too that's a little too ambitious in our first year, possibly. So we are going to limit initially this first year. Definitely, we're going to limit to the vicinity around us. So if we think of, we're in Missouri, the Missouri Ozarks and surrounding areas, that's what we're going to focus on right now. And, I think it's going to be very successful. So my brain's already turning towards what's next and where do we expand out to.
Yes. And then how would somebody nominate a family that they know could use this package this upcoming holiday season?
There will be on the website, there'll be sort of a form you can fill out to make nominations and things like that. But in the meantime, if that form's not there, or if you don't see it or can't find it, you can just reach out and do a contact us from the website, and we'll make sure they get into rotation.
Nice. And I'm sure you're going to put up your schedule for the places that you're going to be and stuff like that as soon as you kind of lock in some of those dates.
Yeah, we're, I'm already doing more conventions on the comic book and publishing front, but now we're going to be adding this in there as well. So we're going to have a presence out there. We're definitely going to have a big presence at Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City. You can come by and see us. Get some information on the foundation, get some free comic books in the process. And we're going to be set up at Tremendicon in Springfield, Missouri. We know that we're going to have big presence at both of those conventions, but I've already started talking to a lot of other conventions. And really, if you think about it, any convention that I'm going to be at, the Midnight Lantern Foundation will have a presence there, and we'll have some information for you and some goodies at those shows.
I was just thinking, like 2/5 of the board here is already at all those conventions, because you and Josh are like always together.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll have plenty of representation at the shows.
Nice. All right. So I think we covered just about everything in there. I really appreciate you doing this, first of all, and I really appreciate the time you've given us today. We'll get this up on the site as soon as we can. We'll shoot you all the stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, Cullen Bunn, not nearly as curmudgeonly as he seems. That's his resting bun face, but I promise you he is a sweetheart once you get to know him. But anyway, thank you very much for your time. That's what we've got for today.
Thanks for that.
It's the Midnight Lantern Foundation. Okay, wait, it's not it's www.midnightlantern.org is where you'll find all the information. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.